Good evening, gents. Punchout boxing colleagues. It's been too long since I've spoke to you all. But as you can see, I got dressed up for an occasion again. Here we are in Riyadh, Boulevard City again, a fortnight after that historic undisputed heavyweight championship fight for another historic battle. The 5v5, Queensberry 5v5. What an event. I'm glad to be here, glad to be covering it. And more importantly, I'm glad you guys are joining me so we can analyze these five terrific fights, plus the one off-key one now that the Bivol routine defense as it's likely to be. But yeah, gents, first of all, how are you in freezing England? Because I tell you, I am sweltering here in 40 degrees.
It's not that cold in the Midlands, to be fair. I mean, I've been working in London today as well, so it's not that bad. Carl, how's Birmingham? It's been okay, apart from the occasional rain blip, should we just say?
Yeah, I think it's been pushing for a thunderstorm here and there over the last few days, but again, it's not been too bad to be honest. Yeah, pleasantly surprised, but I'm absolutely buzzing to see you out there, Ra. I wish I was there. It looks epic, man. But I'm just glad to speak to you both because it's been so long. Like I've just disappeared off the face of the earth, so I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, we're going to call out a search party,
sure.
but I think what better week to be back on, Carl? Five
I
versus
know.
five, Matchroom versus Queensbury. Eddie Hearn takes on Frank Warren in their stable versus stable. Now, this is something that Avengers versus DC-esque, should we just say as well? It's going
Yeah,
to be massive. I mean, each fight card on Riyadh season keeps on getting bigger and bigger. I mean, if we just look
it
at
does.
the card, if we roll out some of these fights that are happening, Wilder versus Zhang, Dubois versus Hergovich, Shiraz versus Williams, Ball versus Ford, Willie Hutchinson takes on Craig Richards, and the odd fight that's in there, which I thought wouldn't have happened, is Bivol versus Zinat. I mean, a cracking card of boxing. Spoke to Eddie Hearn last week, and he tells me that they've got the edge. What do you think, Cole? I mean, if we break these fights down, do you think Eddie Hearn's going to be the victor in this battle?
Uh, I don't know. I don't know. I genuinely think I think if you're looking at it on paper, potentially, but anything can happen. It's just what I just love is that this relationship's continued, especially with the way things are going with Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn, and this is so big for boxing. I think it's something that we've all been desperate to see. We see that all the big fights happening in the UFC, and everyone's saying that like everyone's starting to care less about losing, which is what we want here. But that kind of rivalry that Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren have had um, it's just made it so sort of it's almost movie like you said with Marvel and DC to see that coming together, and you can see that there's almost a comedic friendship there behind it all, and it's just fantastic. I think I'm really excited. I can't wait. I think on paper maybe he has got the edge, but you never know. You never know.
And if it can rock the apple cart, I mean, what would happen, bro, if Zinad shocks the world and beats Dimitri Bivol on Saturday night? What would happen? I mean, that would definitely
I
throw
mean,
the better BF fight out of the water.
it would, and if there's only one minor disappointment, it was that Beterbiev got injured yet again because what a fight that was to sort of headline this after what it's an epic card anyway. But I think most of us hardcore fans certainly we would recognise Beterbiev probably the highest level fight in the game that there is now that we've had the Spence three-quartered welterweight situation resolved. So that's a shame. But anyway, I've got a feeling that might now end up on the Fury Usyk 2 card when that returns here in December. But yeah, it would be it'd be an upset of monumental proportions. Yeah, I don't think anyone can see it. Bivol is just that good, but it don't matter. Like I said, what a card, and as you said, I mean, what Turki Al Sheikh is doing here. I mean, it is very much fantasy boxing league, and the events. I've got a feeling they're just going to get better and better because then there's now talk of he wants to do a UK v US 5v5, a US v
Oh yeah.
Mexico 5v5. I mean, as hardcore boxing fans, I mean, that just whets the appetite, like, to a level that, like I said, it's fantasy stuff, as you said.
I mean, you landed yesterday. What's the feeling on the ground, Ra? Who have you bumped into so far? You spoke to Will Jones, who's a trainer of Zinad. He should be able to give you some time.
Yep.
I know Craig Richards over there as well, Hamza as well. Hopefully you can get some time with Hamza and team. But what's the general feeling like at the minute? Is it a pro matchroom crowd, or is it a pro Queensberry card, or are we split down the middle? The people just want to see a good dust up.
No, it's pretty much split down the middle. I think obviously with the locals, they're still not totally educated about the intricacies of boxing. So for them, they're just enjoying a great spectacle. For the Brits involved, yeah, it is pretty much split down the line. Never understood the concept of having an allegiance to a promotional outfit as a boxing fan, but as I'm sure you guys know, if you follow the Twitter sphere, there's no end of pundits and fans online whose allegiance is actually to the promotional outfits, but not really seen that here. But yeah, I guess come fight night, we'll see where the crowd's tilting towards. But I mean, I think most fans actually just appreciate that such epic fights are being put on.
Good stuff. I mean, let's break down the card then. We'll give some initial reactions in terms of predictions, and then we'll give our final prediction after the weigh-in, because it could all change. Should we just say when you see someone weighed in, someone might look horrendous on the scales, weight range. You might get some rumours like you did last time, and you got that one right as well, Ross. So let's start with the matchroom captain, Deontay Wilder versus Zhilei Zhang. How do you guys see that one going down?
Oh, you start. Nice, easy one for you to get back into the groove with.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm backing Zhilei Zhang on this one. I just think, Deontay Wilder's legs aren't there anymore. I don't know if they've ever been there, to be honest. I think with everything that's gone on as well, I can't see any other result than honestly, I think Zhilei Zhang might knock him out early. I'm gonna go for something. I think it's outlandish. I don't know, but I'm gonna go for like a round 4 KO from Zhilei Zhang for this one.
Oh wow. I'm going the opposite. I think Deontay
Wow.
Wilder. Yeah, I'm going for Deontay Wilder on point. I think I can't see him stopping Zhilei Zhang. I can see a possible an outpointed decision, maybe like how he laboured performance against Deverne many years ago. I could see a performance like that. But my initial feelings are saying it's going to be Deontay Wilder on points. Raw, what do you think? Do you think his legs will be the determining factor? Normally, you're the one that gives outlandish predictions.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, what's going on? I'm the contrarian here. No, I don't think. I think your prediction is probably considered the most outlandish here, because all the talk in the industry is this is two of the biggest single hitters in the game. They're both aging. It can't possibly last the distance. I think Andy Clark, our esteemed colleague, put it best though. If it did go the distance, it'll probably because it's a stinker. I don't see that happening. One thing I do disagree with in terms of the conventional thinking is that I don't think Deontay Wilder was shot at all.
Okay.
Because of course I was there in December. Little flex there. Watching the fight against Parker, to me he didn't look shot. He looked like what he said, i.e., timing off, lack of activity at his age. That's going to have an effect. But I don't think he was struggling, to stay on his feet for the whole 12 rounds. And look, of course, with age, he is going to be half a step slower. That's natural. But that's not going to matter much against Zhang, is it? Being half a step slower. And also, no. I just think against Parker, he came up against someone who had the perfect fight plan, very good boxing ability, and he couldn't find the range on the day. And don't get it twisted. I'm not saying this is a prime Wilder. He is greatly diminished, but so is Zhang at 41. So I don't think. Sorry, Carl, go on.
I was going to say, is there any worry? Because I say worry afterwards. It almost seemed like it wasn't looking for excuses. I don't think that's fair. But I think he knew he's obviously getting a good payday, and I almost felt like I don't know if he actually went into that fight thinking or bothered whether he was going to beat Parker or not. That's how I kind of saw it on the telly. I don't know how it was when you were there and how you felt what it was like there. Do you think his heart's in it, or do you think it's a payday?
Yeah,
Or
that's a good point. Maybe if he's shot or close to being shot, it's more mentally shot than physically.
yeah,
Because again, even several times Parker nailed him cleanly, and he was never in any serious trouble. So I don't think his punch resistance ain't gone. And if his punch resistance ain't gone, it's harder to get him out easily. And if you can't get him out, he's still in the fight because he can land his equalizer. But you're right. Mentally, that might be the biggest problem. Whatever that Peruvian potion did, it may well have taken a certain edge from him that was, maybe one of his strengths in the game. I think with Zhang, despite what his team protest about, it's clear he's a 6-round fighter. And again, that's not hating. It's inevitable at 40 plus. He slows down dramatically in the second half of the fight. And I do think if Wilder hasn't been taken out by the halfway stage, and then Zhang customarily falls back into being a static target essentially, at this point in his career, Wilder can still deal with a static target. I think. Again, like I said, unless mentally he's totally gone and his heart isn't in it at all. So yeah, I'm inclined to actually think at this stage my prediction is more likely that Wilder will ride out some rough patches early on and survive into the late part of the fight where he can then get his own big right hand off.
I hope he does.
You're going for
late stoppage,
yeah? The late stoppage is
I'm going probably a late stoppage for Wilder. Yeah,
it's better for boxing if he's reinvigorated and he comes out with a good result here. Definitely. Yeah, I'm just worried that his heart's not in it.
It's true. If he does show his old ferocious self, that of course reopens a possibility that we could get AJ v Wilder finally. In that big September card, which is to be announced. And I don't know about you guys, I'd take that all day at this point in their careers. I still think if Wilder shows the ferocity, then it's pretty much as it was always, a fight between two big punchers.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, the next heavyweight battle on the card is Dubois versus Hrgovic. And I'll just say how I see this at the moment, and this could all change tomorrow after the weigh-in, is at this present moment, I'm split. I think that the longer the fight goes on, it'll be Hrgovic's fight. I think if Dubois doesn't finish him within 7 rounds, it's going to get harder. He may blow out some steam. He might struggle. And that's where we're going to see Hrgovic come out of his shell. So I think Dubois has to finish early. What am I backing? At this present moment, I'd say Dubois stops Hrgovic. And I'd say that would be probably be about round 6 or 7. But I'm inclined to think the longer it goes on, it'll be Hrgovic's fight. What do you guys think?
Well, I want to address that. You know what? I did bring this up with Don Charles at the launch press conference. The biggest concern I have for anyone fighting Hrgovic is that chin of his. It might well be the best chin in the division, because last time, 2 fights ago when he fought Zhang, he ate Zhang's left hand repeatedly and he smiled back at him. I mean, it's going to be a very tall order for someone to take Hrgovic out. I mean, we've seen with Joyce that even the toughest chins do get cracked eventually. I just think, though, Hrgovic, he hasn't taken much punishment in his career. So I don't think his chin's been worn down anywhere near it yet. So that would be
Yeah, I
the
mean that
concern.
fight as well. That was a controversial decision, wasn't it? I mean that should have been Zhilei Zhang hand raised at the end of that one instead of Hrgovic, from what I
Yes,
remember.
I personally thought it was that close that I didn't think it was that controversial. I think with the knockdown, yeah, probably Zhang just eats it, but I wouldn't say it was a robbery. And to be honest, the knockdown weren't really a knockdown. Most people agree. You watch it back, Zhang sort of pushed his head down, and but anyway, yeah, it's an odd fight why it's being taken at this stage, given especially as they haven't got the IBF belt. Maybe they balance on the fact that it would be on the line, but I thought Daniel could still do with a couple of more decent contenders before he goes straight in with one of the top guys. So I don't know. Is this a sign? I don't know. Has Frank lost patience with him and is now telling him, right, sink or swim? Or is it just the fact that Hrgovic, let's be real, he's looked flat in a lot of recent performances.
He did. I mean, the Dempsey McKean fight, it wasn't the best performance. It wasn't the best fight. I know he got the win, but it wasn't the best Hrgovic. I mean, it was a laboured performance. He got the win. Looking at that, maybe Frank Warren's looking at that, thinking, you know, he's ready for the taking. This could be the defining fight of Daniel Dubois.
Maybe that's it. I think Frank may well have looked at some of them fights and thought that's the best we're going to get out of Hrgovic at this point. But yeah, he just you look at how dismissive and smug he is. There's one thing for sure. Hrgovic is super confident in himself as well. I'm inclined to think with his technical know-how as well, I think he will eat some heavy shots early, like he did against Zhang, and then he'll work Daniel out and take control of the fight, to box his way to a clear decision. I think Daniel's probably overcome some of the mental demons of the past. I think he's mentally stronger, so I think all this talk of quitting, I think that we put aside. I'm going to go probably at this point. I'm inclined to think Hrgovic will box his way to a decision. Yeah, I'll go for a clear points win.
Carl, what do you think, mate?
I think it's I can definitely see it from both sides 100%. I think I agree. Hrgovic is definitely the technically superior fighter. He's got, albeit, you know, it's marginal, I guess, but he does have a height and reach advantage over him as well. And I know Dubois has obviously come out of that Usyk fight with a lot of credit, to be fair. And I do agree. I think he has overcome some demons, but I think Hrgovic has got too much, and I think there's potentially going to be a late stoppage from Hrgovic. That's not to say that Dubois hasn't got it in him to be able to stop him, because he's stopped 19 of the 22 opponents inside the distance. So, you know, he's got that about him, of course. Yeah, but I'm going to go for a Hrgovic late stoppage. I think he's technically too good. I think he's got too much. And I know he did eat those shots from Zhang, and obviously Zhang's very slow, but I still think he's got too much for Dubois, in my opinion.
No, we'll see whose opinion changes come tomorrow night after the weigh-in, because it could all change. Hamza Shiraz versus Austin Ammo Williams. What a fight! What a fight! I'll take this one first. Again, not being biased or anything like that. I know, Hamza's given us a lot of time on the channel before. We've met his team. We've met Hamza numerous times. Putting those reasons aside, I'm still backing Hamza Shiraz. The destruction of Liam Williams. He's a long, rangy fighter, and he boxes. And I spoke to Spencer Fearon on this one as well. People always say, look, he's like Tommy Hearns because he's tall, he's rangy. Spencer Fearon and I, we spoke about this, and we came to the agreement. He's more like Oscar De La Hoya. The way he boxes, the way he moves. Yes, he's tall. Yes, he's rangy. I'm going to go for Hamza Shiraz on point. I think he's just going to box Ammo Williams to a points victory. I can't say whether it's going to be majority decision, split decision. I can't see either man knocking each other out, but I am going to go for Hamza Shiraz on points. Over to you, boys.
You take it away, Carl.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those fights that you just love to see. These are the fights that are meant to happen. I think it's genuinely a 50-50 fight. Absolutely understand why you're backing Hamza Shiraz, I do. Yeah, it's so well matched in terms of ability that I just think like picking a winner is really difficult, and I think I genuinely think it almost comes down to not favoritism, but I think it will genuinely come down to the fighter that you prefer watching, and for me that probably is Hamza Shiraz. To be fair, he's definitely got excellent technical ability, and I think I agree. I do agree with you, Dave. I think the longer the fight goes on, I think he can outbox him to a win. But it's such a 50-50 fight. This is up there with probably the fight that I'm looking forward to the most, almost, to be honest. I think it's going to be a really good contest, definitely for the boxing purists. But yeah, I'll back Hamza Shiraz for a points win.
Yeah, and again, it could all change. Ra, what do you think? How do you see this one going down?
I agree with Carl. It's so genuinely 50-50 that the pick is almost down to favouritism. I think any outcome is actually possible here. I think they both hit so hard, either one of them could get knocked out early if they get caught cold. Sorry, we just got the call to prayer going there. I don't know if you can still hear me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, either one of them could go early if they get caught. It could turn into a chess game while they're both trying to work each other out. Because one thing's for sure, they're both young, in their prime, hungry, but neither of them have yet had that litmus test. They are each other's litmus test. So,
we thought that was going to be the test with Liam Williams. We thought that would be the test for Hamza Shiraz, and Hamza Shiraz disposed of Liam Williams. No offense, in a round. So you're right. This is the test.
He does need this fight before he does challenge for the world title. I believe it's confirmed that this is a WBC final eliminator. So I guess the winner's going for Carlos Adames, who's no pushover. Just because most Brits haven't heard of him, make no mistake, he is genuinely world class. So they both need this to be prepared for that. Yeah, I actually see probably both fighters getting hurt and having to go through some sort of a crisis. Wouldn't be surprised if we see both guys hit the deck in this fight. Trying to put bias aside and give plausible reasons. The one thing I would say in Hamza's favour, I do think he's shown more mental steadiness through his career. Ammo, he's had a brief period where he's gone off the rails somewhat, fallen off the scene for a bit. He's had his demons to deal with. Whereas Hamza, all through his career, he's been steady, he's been focused. He's got out of his comfort zone, gone over to California. I think that time in California, which by his own admission is like he said that when he first turned up there, all of these hard as now macho Latino kids were just queuing up for sparring to see if they can knock him out. They wanted to make a name for himself. I think just experiences like that will have just sort of forged a lot of mental focus and mental strength that you need to come through what will probably be the first crisis of his career. So yeah, because of that, I'm edging towards Hamza. I think he'll overcome some rocky moments and then get his tactics right and box his way towards the decision and win it on points.
And someone who's been mentally tested, someone who could have been declared the world champion last time he was out here was Nick Paul. Nick Paul is up against Raymond Ford. What a fight! Who wants to take that one first? I'll give you my prediction afterwards. But
I'll go for that because a lot of people are saying, well, Ford is technically far superior, which he may well be. He's from that, American amateur system. He was on the Olympic team, all of that. We know he is technically good, but what people have also been saying in the last couple of days, he looks like he's dying on the scales. He's at the press events. He's all like hooded up, got his jacket on, got his shades on. His face looks drawn. After he beat Kolmatov, was it? He himself said, "I've got to move up in weight." I think he is primed to have made the same mistake Joe Cordina made a fortnight ago, in that he stayed at the weight one fight too many because of the payday. And because Nick Paul is so relentless, his punching power carries late into the fight, as we've seen, several times where he's got knockdowns and stoppages late. I think that is really going to cost Ford. So because of that, because of how he looks in making the weight, and by his own admission that he should have moved up, I think that the weight cut's going to really cost him. I think after he's built up a lead in the first half of the fight, Paul will just keep coming and stopping late.
Not a wacky prediction there, to be fair. Again, this is one of those fights which could go either way. Interested to see your thoughts, Carl, on this one. This could be Nick Paul's biggest night of his career, to be fair. He could be crowned a champion. How do you see this fight going down?
I've very much similar to Ra. I think the both in their last outings overcome really tough starts to the fights, didn't they? Obviously, Ford clawing back a fight that he was losing against Kolmatov, and getting the job done in the last 7 seconds of that 12th round, and then you've got
1 2 test 1 2.
Oh, I wondered what that was. And
then
obviously
got a sound check going on behind me.
Yeah, Nick Paul coming back from behind against Ray Vargas, and
ladies and gentlemen,
arguably
at this time,
like you said, he should have been crowned the champion, and
that
not being able to the judges not being able to split them. But
to a man, certainly
I back Nick Paul in this one. I agree. I think it's going to be right. The weight is going to be Ford's downfall, and I think Nick Paul will get the job done. I do. And like you said, both of them had such great outings in their last fight, and have proven that they can overcome and go into the deep waters and pull out a result, or at least try to pull out a result, whether the judges agree or not. But I can see Nick Paul going on to do more in this division than Raymond Ford, and I expect him to come out with this win.
Yeah, so I've just briefly muted Raw there, because we've got the sound checks going on. So Raw, I'll let you back in, but I'll quickly give my prediction before we go into the final prediction. Who am I backing? I'm going to go for Nick Paul. I think the experience he had out last time with Ray Vargas, he should have been, in my opinion, declared the champion of the world. I think that's going to spur him on. I think he's going to maybe lose the first few rounds, and then he's going to pick up the pace, because he reminds me a bit like Dennis McCann in terms of so relentless in terms of the pace, head down, just throwing punches, and he can box too. So I'm going to go for Nick Paul on points, but I think it's going to be a tougher fight than the Vargas fight, if I'm being honest, because Ray Ford has also got that in him as well, where he can go into the latter rounds of the rounds and really produce a result. Just going on to the final prediction then, Willie Hutchinson and Craig Richards. Again, a fight which could go either way. I'll take my opinion first. I think it's going to be an interesting fight. But honestly speaking, I think the level of opposition that Craig Richards has fought is going to see him through this fight. Let's not forget as well, he gave a great account of himself, should we just say, against Dimitri Bivol. The fight didn't go his way, but some argue that Bivol never got out of first gear because of the opposition. However, if you look at Craig Richards, he stepped up the pace and he tried to put it on him. He came up short. I think it's going to be Craig Richards on points so far at this present moment. Again, we'll replay this tomorrow when we go through the weigh-in, and we'll see where people are. at the stage of the weigh-in, but I'm going to go for Craig Richards on points. I think it's quite funny as well. Willie Hutchinson trying to show Nick Ball how to dance as well in one of the videos that was going around. So he looks like he's enjoying the occasion, which is great. I think he's going to give a good account of himself, but I think it'll be Craig Richards. Raul, what do you think?
Well, I don't know if you've heard, there's been a bit of furore on social media about some alleged comments Hutchinson made in some altercation they had. You know, Craig's again one of those level-headed guys. He's not letting it get to him, but I do wonder if at some level he's going to want to step on the gas for once. Craig has fought a different caliber. I mean, Bivol, he's on another planet to just about every light heavyweight in the world, other than Beterbiev. And, you know, Boatsy ain't far off. And Craig gave him a real run for his money as well. So that's the caliber that Craig's been in there. And then with Shane McGuigan now, you know, tweaking him and getting the most out of him. I think he might actually go up a gear for this and try and make a statement, as well as the fact that it's here in Riyadh season. Everyone wants to put on a real impressive, show and get the invite back. So we've seen Hutchinson has been stopped before against a much lower level. He's been rebuilt well, but I think if Craig really wants to move through the gears here, I think he can get a stoppage sort of round 6 to 8.
Yeah, we'll see that happens. And Carl, how do you see this one going down?
Yeah, I agree. I think not only as Craig Richards mixed in the far superior class, Hutchinson hasn't really been anywhere near that sort of level of opponent. So again, Richards he likes to fight in close as well. Do I think he should do that? Probably not. I think he could quite comfortably box on the outside, and they've both got power. I don't think Hutchinson's got anywhere near enough to come out of this with a result. I think Craig Richards will look to probably start chopping the body down in the later stages of the fight. And I with Ra, I think me personally, I think maybe 8 to 10. But I agree. I think it is a fight where Craig Richards can look to potentially turn on the gas and have his way with him in the second half of the fight. I really do. Obviously, Hutchinson is not going to lie down, but I just don't. He hasn't got the experience of fighting the opposition that Richards has, and the stage might even get to him a little bit. And I think Craig Richards is going to look to push on in his career, and I think it's a good fight for him to make a name for himself on the stage. I don't think he'll let that slip.
No, it's such a big occasion for him. There you have it. Those are our predictions. Again, we'll wrap up our predictions for what is a cracking night of boxing again. So our predictions might change. Have a look out for the video, which will go out on Saturday. If you do want a score sheet, there'll be one posted on our socials. So if you do want to print one off and just have a bit of fun with your mates as well, and just choose who's going to be winning and then who the overall winner is, crack on. Just have a look for that on our social pages as well. But yeah, thanks for joining us, guys, and long live 5 versus 5 in Riyadh season.
Definitely.